Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with the flip through of An Account of Saint Austell. This is my most recent journal that I've completed. So if we take a look at the book, it is an old vintage book. I believe it is 1897. I will confirm that when I open it. But I had a lot of fun using this cover. It's a beautiful weathered old cover, and I decided I would cover over the spine with some amazing wool crochet lace. These are freshwater pearls that I've actually stitched through the spine. I did a video about that a couple of days ago. Then this was the original embossing on the cover, An Account of Saint Austell, and we've done some collaging with birch bark and the original book spine here. I've added this little owl that is stamped on leather. I felt like it was just a fun little add to the front of this cover, and I've added a bronze book plate here with a removable label, and then here I've done some stitching. I did do a video on that as well. It's just a fun way to kind of make the cover a little more interesting. This cover, it took me a little while to fully conceptualize and be happy with exactly how it looked, but now I really am. It feels very warm, and I like it. So I've added gold eyelets to hold it closed, and I've used some beautiful gold seam binding to tie it closed with. So let's open up, and yes, we are 1897. So I did something a little different with the binding this time, or not the binding, but the end pages. So I used the original end papers that they're subtle but beautiful, and they're weathered, and I really wanted to use them again because I felt like they went really well with the book. I was thinking a little bit about just some different concepts when I was making this book, and some of it was about like linen and white linen, and I don't know, it just like some laces and nature, and just kind of a warm, weathered old book feel. The things that kind of bring you comfort with a bit of nature. And I've also used my Journal Together kit in here. This is a commonplace book, and my Patreon monthly kit that I've used in here, it is like a commonplace kind of kit. It is some kind of an eclectic collection that I release each month on Patreon, and I wanted to use it in a journal to just kind of show you how to build a commonplace book with such materials. So let's jump in. So as you can see, we have here this beautiful pocket. I've done one at the front and at the back, and it overlaps and does a little trimming right on this front page. I've added this Blue Jay journal card. Now this is from a 1921 scrapbook that I've been cutting up for some time. I think I actually have about 2 more to go of 1920 and actually 1890 scrapbooks that were old. They were from an estate auction. So I'm loving using these pieces in these journals that I've been making lately. So this is the front page of the title page of the book. It says A Cornish Parish, An Account of Saint Austell. And I just added this flycatcher and these flowers here. The main thing I wanted to keep was the 1897 date. But I wanted to add something kind of nice to open the book to. And then obviously some beautiful lace has been stitched on here. This side we have some, this is like a corn paper, and this says By Starlight, and then this is a little dreamer here from It Capilli Imaginarium on Etsy. This is some handmade paper, and that is a stamp from my Journal Together collection. This is also from my collection, and I've added Found a Lovely Flowering Meadow, and this was a scan from the 1920 scrapbook. This is on a vintage botanical book page, and this is these beautiful doves. They were cut from a magazine from the Netherlands called Fleur. This is an envelope that was part of a collection of things, personal effects that I purchased at an estate auction, and I've added some eyes here. Everything about this journal just has an eclectic kind of feel to it. This is a little picture of Goldilocks sitting on a birch tree bench. That's from a children's book, and it just pops on inside this pocket. And then we have, this is a calendar page from a botanical calendar book. This is a fall leafy page. This sea turtle is from my collection. And then this is a little glassine bag, or not glassine, sorry, acetate bag, and I've trapped a little seed in here. It is stitched closed. This is actually from Shabby Dabby Doodah. It's one of her digitals, and I've added some goldy lace down the side. This is a little butterfly, or sorry, ladybug cluster with some book spine. And then a couple of old receipts from those old, cash registers. This is a page, Society of Industrial Accountants. Those are all original ephemera from the personal effects box that I purchased. This is a little, these are both from my kit. So this is a little bird carrying some sewing thread. And this is an Italian stitching card from 1892 from Singer Manufacturing Company, and these are scanned from the originals that I got in an estate auction, and this is on some wallpaper digital. This is a cabbage dyed 2-table tally card, and this is a journal card I made from a children's book with an owl. This little butterfly here is from my kit, as is this house, and this Frosted Peanuts label. This is also from my kit. It is a woman holding a little girl, and they're doing some embroidering. This was from the 1921 scrapbook, and I've added some cabbage dyed stationery inside here. The other side of that form, that accounting form, and those receipts. Another Shabby Dabby Doodah's pages, and this is some cedar trapped inside this bag with the little seeds there. The fall leaf page, and the other side of that notebook, botanical notebook. This is a vintage botanical page, and a little pocket that I've made here that says, "The summer passed, bright leaves fell upon her." And this is a little journal card with a deer at nighttime here. And some handmade paper. More of that corn paper. It says, "The Wonderful Beauty of Dawn." And I have clipped on this beautiful fairy postcard. Now we're on to the second signature. This book has 5 signatures. So this is an antique French dining place card, and I got it at an antique store, and it's from Paris, and it basically would get folded and stood up, and this one has this really beautiful gown. It was called the Risque gown on the label that I when I bought it. And then we have a vintage botanical page with some mushrooms and some avocado dyed crochet lace down the side. And this is a journal card from an 1800s natural history book that's part of my collection, that my Patreon collection. This is the Nightingale Spirit Tarot card from the Spirit Animal Tarot set. And this is a journal card with a birch tree and a butterfly from my Journal Together collection. And some tea-dyed paper. The pocket and the card are both from my collection, and they are also scans from the 1920s scrapbook, and they are on music paper. And over here I have clipped on a journal card from my collection that I designed fully in Procreate. This is just some yellow paper. Both this little vintage Valentine and this tropical bird natural history card are from my collection. This was scanned from the 1920s scrapbook, and this was from an 1800s natural history book, and it is on some wallpaper digital. This is just a fun ledger page that has slanted lines. This is from a book page. It's a picture of the nightingale bird, and it's on some really fun pickle paper. It was from a children's storybook. It was one of the first, had the fly page. It's really fun. And then this little booklet is just a little journal card space, and it's made from a botanical book. And I've done a little cluster here with an owl on the front. More tea-dyed paper. And then this little pocket here on some of that ledger, or sorry, not ledger, but this is from the Dietrich's Life Logs, digital in my shop. These are scans of basically this gentleman whose personal effects I bought would write down all of his purchases, what he bought and what it cost, and it's just really interesting blue pen writing. And then this is another of those Italian singer manufacturing cards. This is a little cluster notebook with a pied bill grebe and some avocado dyed paper. This is a jelly print. This is some watercolor on old ledger. This is a pocket from a children's book, and then this is a little tag that I made with this little glassine envelope. It's collage. It has this. This is from the 1920s scrapbook, and it's another little tag for writing and just goes right into this pocket. Some tea-dyed paper. That's more of that pickle paper and this little frog tuck. And then this is from a children's book, and it's got this beautiful illustration of a goose and a rooster, or a hen rather. And more of that slanted ledger paper. This is a digital of wallpaper, and I've done this. This is from a children's book page. It's a belly band, and this is a metallic watercolored pattern paper of a bird. It's one of those like stitching patterns for doing like cross stitch. And then this is a little collage tuck spot here with a children's book page journal card that has a little mouse and some fireflies and a barn, and it's on music paper. Tea-dyed paper. This is a vintage botanical page. This beautiful plant. And then this is a little journal card I made from a children's book. I added little fairy folks inside this house, and the door opens. And it's more journaling space on back. This is one of my digitals from the Journal Together Club. This is a vintage envelope from 1973, and I've added this flower here. And inside the envelope we have this. This is from my kit, Watkins 1920, the Watkins Girl. That was from that 1920 scrapbook. And then behind it is also a tuck spot where we have some book spine cluster with this little bit here. This is a tiny little cabinet card that is from my Journal Together collection as well, as is this journal card. This is actually some of that the 1920s scrapbook that was created inside the 1850s ledger. So that's a journaling card back here. Also part of this month's Journal Together kit. This is some graph paper. This is some shibori tea-dyed paper with a little eye down here. We have some brown paper with a couple of coffee-dyed tickets. This is another picture of the nightingale from a children's book, and it says The Beauty of the Grey Bird's Song. It's on wallpaper, and this is a vintage postcard of Culzean Castle, Ayrshire. It is not written on back, so it's journaling space. This is another textile pattern paper. This one is for, I believe, rug hooking, and you would follow the numbers and use the particular yarn on the mesh that you were rug hooking. This is a cabbage dyed log paper. This is some watercoloring on vintage ledger. A jelly print. A little deer head here. More of the cabbage dyed log paper and the pattern paper, and this tips out a couple of times here for more writing space, obviously. This is a journal card that I designed from my Journal Together kit. Both of these are also from the kit. So this is a very fun old picture of a little girl that has kind of rusting marks. It looks almost like a spirit photography image. It's really neat. And this is from an old newspaper, and it says, Qs and Queens, Miss Harrison and Miss Lennon engage in a billiard battle for the championships of Britain. And that is from an old newspaper. It's also part of my kit. And then we have, this is a little Victorian cat, a German cat in a Victorian style. So if you're familiar with like German paper, like vintage paper, you could get all of these beautiful sort of like early die cut kind of images. And this is one of those cats that comes from that kind of a collection. And then we have this pocket here. It has built-in little tuck spots if you want to tuck anything in there. And inside we have, this is collaged, and it's on coffee dyed paper that's been stitched around, so it's just more journal space. And that goes this way. And then we have more graph paper. Some fun ribbon down the side here. It's like a pearlized kind of light pink that's pearly. And this is some watercoloring on book page with a little deer here. That's one of my digitals from the Journal Together kit. And then we have kind of a double pocket here that's like a freeform style collage. And in behind it says the bullfrog, and that's from this image, which is actually part of my Journal Together kit. It's from that natural history book. This is an original illustration from the St. Austell book. And then this is a journal tag that I've created that I need to cover the back of because I forgot to do so. So let me just make a little mark here that I will do that as soon as the video is over. I think I had originally intended for it to be a pocket, and then I ended up using it to be a journal card, so I will cover that. Then we have another little tuck spot here that has a watercolor, old ledger watercolor inside. And then this little guy here, I thought you could write in here if you wanted to, so I left the inside of the hoop. This is some tea-dyed paper. And let me just set the... I'm going to use this vintage paper to cover the back of that. This is a tuck spot that's been collaged, and another little image of Goldilocks here on shibori tea-dyed paper. These are a couple of little storyteller dreamers. They're from a collection from It Capilli Imaginarium on Etsy. This is some tea-dyed log book page. This is from my kit. It's part of a collection of old vegetable people postcards, and this is the potato, and I love him. It says, I have my eyes on you, and it is on a rusty paper clip on some vintage wallpaper digital. And then we have tea-dyed paper, and then a little pocket here, and this vintage photo scan of these boys playing trains. Both of these are from my Journal Together collection, and this is on some shabby dabby doodah paper. Twilight on the Lake, as well as this, are both from my collection. This was a scan from the 1920s scrapbook. Isn't that lovely? And then this is just some fun, like, gray, scratchy kind of paper. It was a book page. And then a little memo page that's been cabbage dyed. This is a form, the Certified General Accountants Association of Ontario. This is a map from the original St. Austell book. And then this is a really cute vintage birthday card. It said, for your special day, here's something cute with nothing on but a birthday wish. Happy birthday. And we have a little goose head down here. And the other side of that form. More of the cabbage dyed memo page. And that book page. And then here we have a little pocket with birds on a shabby dabby doodah page. And this is an avocado dyed gift certificate page with some nice gold around. And then tea-dyed paper. This is a vintage playing card, and this is actually another image of a nightingale from a different book that is illustrated. I've made a little journal card. And then some tea-dyed lined paper that tips out. More tea-dyed paper, shibori paper. A little tuck pocket here, and this is, let me see. There we go. Hadn't opened it yet, but it's like a Rita Donnelly flip, so there's more writing underneath there, and it just tucks back in. Then we have some beautiful birds. This is another of those shiny cards from the back of one of those Dutch magazines. And then we have music paper with a bit of lace. And then this is a cabinet card from my collection, and it says, "Must be a storm coming." And this couple is from the Listowel, Ontario area. I've added an orchid here, and this is on botanical paper with lace down the side. And then this is a stationery page also from my collection, from an 1800s family photography book. A collage pocket that says "Right in the Heart of the Wood," and this is from my collection as well. It's the 1800s natural history page, and it's a journal card, some tea-dyed paper. Another of those vegetable people. This is from my collection as well. "I'm as cool as a cucumber, but my heart is warm." This little embroidered label is from my collection. Some coffee-dyed paper. A collage pocket with the "Ladybird, Ladybird, Fly Away Home" verse on shibori paper. And this is another piece of stationery from my collection with this beautiful squirrel. It's also from a family photography album. More tea-dyed paper. And this is an old piece of an old calendar. You'll see the other side of it as I get to it. And this is from my collection, another of those birds with the sewing thread, and I've stitched it also on some fabric. And then a little fish journal card on wallpaper digital. This is an old envelope that I've just used as an original piece of ephemera. This is one of my jelly prints. It's a scan of it. It's from a collection in my shop. And then I've added some black misty kind of glassine. It's like clouds and stars. And this is an original photograph of this little girl. Her name is Margaret Coley. And this was from 1939 when she was 7 years old. And then a little blue doily. This is also from my collection. This is one of the natural history journal cards, and it's on the same jelly print. And then we have the other side of that envelope that obviously tips out. Wallpaper digital with a bit of the original book spine just collaged here. Tea-dyed paper. There's the other side of that calendar page. This is from Sunday, August 12th of 1923, and this is from the Reed Press, Printers and Engravers. Shibori and coffee-dyed papers. And then this is the other side of my digital of the vegetable people, and it says "A Merry Halloween." Tea-dyed paper. This is a cedar waxwing bird that I've done. These are silk threads from Waste Silk, and this is a journal card here of this Victorian woman with her bunny. Just pops in there. And this is a vintage botanical page, and then the other pocket done in the exact same way as the one at the front. I really enjoy these. I think this is kind of like a nice way to do an end page in a journal. I like carrying the fabric over onto the page. It's nice. Then this is from the original scrapbook, the 1920 scrapbook. I thought this was so cute. These fluffy white beauties were prize winners in England's National Cat Show recently held at the Crystal Palace, London. And that journal card just pops right in here, and that little tab there just comes out a little bit. So that is it for now. So I'm going to work on just finishing up this journal card and popping it back in the journal, and then it will be ready to go off to its new home. So if you're seeing this video, you will see this journal up in my shop, and I thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.